Hi, dear friends. There is no doubt in my mind, and probably also in your minds, that our generation, or the current generations running things, running the economy, is by far the wealthiest there's ever been in terms of material possessions, let's say properties, houses, cars, bikes, clothing, and so on, is by far the wealthiest from all the generations. Yet, it appears to be the unhappiest generation. In terms of unhappiness in search of happiness, it appears that we are trying to topple down the democratic systems in place. We have the tendency to go for populism, to vote for that, to vent our frustrations publicly and blame on the common enemy and so on. My question is why? Why, when we can simply focus less on material possessions, maybe this makes us unhappy, and then start focusing on nature, on stop or ways to stop hurting the planet so much, to produce material things that are so useless to our existence, and invest much more money in education, to education how to live in peace and in harmony with our surrounding, our environment. Stop hurting the planet, stop hurting the animals, stop hurting everything that is surrounding us. Material possessions, of course, are good for our development, our civilization, and so on. But we have to start appreciating much more the intrinsic value of the objects, and don't look at them as things that can be discarded. We should invest in re-educating ourselves away from consumerism to a new level where we appreciate much more the natural resources, our waters, our air, the animals, so that we don't kill so many animals anymore for meat, for food, and try to invest in our educational system so that it teaches us how to be happier with our surroundings, with ourselves as human beings, and stop using the compensation method and buy more things, trying to compensate for unhappiness, for our emptiness, for our loneliness, and be not rush so much to blame the others for our problems. And maybe you can help me with these thoughts. Why our generation is so unhappy, yet is the wealthiest in terms of material possessions. Why we are so quick to blame others for our unhappiness, loneliness, and emptiness. Why are we trying to compensate these with buying more things? How can we get away from this path to destruction? Are there countries that have evolved beyond consumerism? Are there countries that begin to appreciate that consumerism and material possession is not the way? I really doubt this. Even the wealthiest countries, where people have huge bank accounts, although they live wealthier, they try to healthier, they try to buy their kids wooden toys and so on, they are still not giving up to their material possessions. They still have huge houses and consume a lot of electricity, lots of chemicals for their loans and so on. The question is, how can we get away from this path to destroying our planet, our surroundings, in wasting our resources in producing useless things, little things that you think that little things that you're buying from China everywhere very cheaply, you're throwing away, hurting first of all the resources of our planet, and then creating more waste, more CO2. And even organizations such as European Union, that apparently finances research projects, how to tackle, for example, the CO2 problem in the world or in Europe in general by financing research, is making this, is fighting this with the help of bureaucracy, people that they have to fly more, print more paper by making committees, extra committees, supra committees, and so on. People that waste more, produce more CO2 by flying different countries and so on. Waste more paper, print more papers, doing projects, consume electricity and so on. This is not the way to go around in consuming, pretending that you're fighting CO2 production with making more of it. There is a law in science, there is a law of nature, law of thermodynamics, which says that we are consuming high grade energy or high frequency, low wavelength energy, and the living system, we and our society are dissipative system, and the thing is, we don't consume energy, we just transform energy to longer wavelength, to heat, for example, and we dissipate it. We are dissipative, self-organized systems. And in a way, societies or governments or supra-societies and so on, the more energy input we receive, the more richness we receive. The tendency is that we tend to organize, to create supra-statal, supra-government organizations, as we see local governments, federal governments, European governments, and so on and so on. And this with each committee, so these are dissipative, self-organized systems that in the end, they degrade energy much more than in the beginning. So you cannot fight the destruction of our planet with making more committees, with making more, with having people all over the world flying more frequently and waste more natural resources and claim that you are fighting the CO2 production. So these were my thoughts. Thanks for watching, and please comment below if you have any real thoughts on this topic.